I want to have a conversation with you about the PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score and how do you actually increase yours quickly and make sure that your score stays up in there, okay? Don't you go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation, I guarantee you. For edition of the Awesome Sweater Kiwi Show, how are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Now let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about the PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. How do you increase yours quickly and make sure that your score stays high, okay? And let me first give you an overview. The thing here is that PenFed has an internal score that is similar to Navy Fed's, okay? And not a lot is known publicly about that credit score, but based on our research and based on all the work we have done with clients and and ourselves as members of PenFed, we have seen that this PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score is very lively. In other words, the institution pays attention to a few things when thinking about they actually rate their members based on a few factors. And I want to talk to you about that in today's conversation. So when we talk about PenFed and NextGen, there has been a long relationship. And they started maybe 2 decades ago based on our research. So in the early 90s, they started this conversation. So PenFed rates all members based on a few factors. So it's really important to understand that when we talk about next-gen credit scores, we're talking about a kind of FICO score that is different from other credit scores, okay? Normally, the normal FICO modeling goes from 300 to 850, okay? But the next-gen credit score from PenFed, at least the one that PenFed uses, goes from 150 to 950. Okay, there's some minor differences here and there, but that's what it is. Okay, so when you have your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, you're going to be rated from 150 to 950. It's really important. And one thing I want to say here is that there are some myths concerning FICO scores in general that I want to debunk in today's conversation. So basically, you have to understand that not all credit scores are FICO scores, okay? PenFed might look at your FICO score to approve you for a credit card or a loan, but when it comes to their internal credit score, they go by the PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, okay? And they use a constellation of factors, not just your payment history, not just your financial history. They look at your education, or in some cases, where you live, what kind of assets you have. Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Okay, so a lot of things go into, and also your relationship with PenFed. This is really important. I will talk about that in today's conversation, but this actually goes into your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, okay? And also we're talking about, sometimes people say, well, if I apply for new credit, my PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score will drop. Yes, but not that much. Usually when you apply for a new credit, your FICO score might drop by, let's say, 5 or 10 points, but your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score will drop by 5 points maximum, okay? Especially when it's credit from PenFed itself. So after giving you an overview, boss, I want to talk to you about how to actually increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. Well, the first thing you need to do is that you have to pay attention to what kind of credit relationships you have with PenFed. This is important. You got to talk about that, okay? So I want you to right now have a catalog. I want you to really go into your relationship with PenFed and think about what kind of credit relationships you have with them. Do you have credit cards with them? Do you have PenFed credit cards right now? This will affect your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, okay? And do you have personal loans? Do you have auto loans? Do you have mortgages? Talk to me about that. Do you have home equity line of credits with them? Do you have lines of credits with them? Talk to me about that. Now, PenFed doesn't offer business credit. So right now, as of the date of this show, so everything we're talking about, we are speaking about individual credit, right? We're talking about personal credit. So what is the state of your relationship? What is the status of your relationship with PenFed? Talk to me about that. This is important. This is going to affect your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. Now, not just the amount of open credit you have with the institution, but we're talking about how current you are. Okay, are you current on all PenFed credit products? If you are current, your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score will go up. That's just what it is, because the institution pays attention to how well you're paying your bills, if you're paying all your bills on time. Really important. And if you want your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score to go up, guess what, boss? Don't have more than 5 credit products open at any point in time. Okay, we're talking about credit cards, loans, HELOCs, and whatnot. This is important, and you want to gradually reduce your credit utilization ratio on revolving lines. So I'm talking about credit cards and personal lines of credit. Okay, you really need to think about it, and you also need to reduce your DTI. And this is a gradual process. This doesn't happen overnight. This is a gradual process that you have to engage in, very importantly. So, okay, when we talk about reducing your debt to income ratio, we are speaking about making sure that the available proportion of your income that you allocate to debt servicing goes down over time. In other words, that your debt overall goes down. This is important. So the lower your DTI and CUR, the higher your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. Let me talk to you about your relationship with PenFed. Oh yeah, boss. So when we talk about if you want to increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, you need to actually beef up your relationship with the institutions. Now, there is no direct correlation. There is no one-to-one correlation between your relationship with the PenFed and your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. In other words, just putting a lot of cash into PenFed's coffers, into PenFed's accounts, deposit accounts, will not make you overnight to have a score of 800, 900, or 950. Okay, but PenFed pays attention to how healthy your accounts are with them. So when we talk about PenFed MPR, this is the right term for it, the multi-product relationship. We pay attention to a constellation of things, boss. And I want you to really, right now, I want you to dig deep and think about your relationship with PenFed. How much money do you have in your checking accounts? Do you have a checking account? Do you have a savings account? Do you have a CD, a certificate of deposit? Do you have a sure certificate? Do you have a money market account? Do you have an IRAs, an individual retirement accounts? See, what I'm trying to tell you here is that I'm not asking you to put all your cash into PenFed. But what I'm trying to say is, if your goal over the long run is to actually cultivate a better rapport with PenFed and consequently increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, you need to beef up your deposits with the institution. Okay, there is not a one-to-one correlation, but there is a strong correlation overall. Okay, so the more money you have with them, if you set your direct deposit with them, and again, when we talk about PenFed MPR, I want to stress the fact that I'm talking about deposit accounts. Okay, people will be talking about, hey, listen, if you have liability accounts with them, this also counts. No, when we speak about MPR, we are speaking about asset accounts. We're not speaking about credit accounts. So your mortgages, your loans, your credit cards do not count when we talk about having a relationship with PenFed. We're speaking about bringing money to them. We're actually parking your cash with them. Okay, and when we talk about the PenFed MPR, we want to stress the length of the membership. How long have you been a member of the institution? Talk to me about that. This is important because if you started your relationship with them 6 months ago, you can't really have a high PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. You better you need to stay around for a while, so they actually know that you've been a good member, that you have a good account, good payment history. Okay, your deposit balances are very important. How many open accounts you have? We are speaking about deposit accounts. Cause, are you listening to me? I want to talk to you about your record. Do you have a clean record with PenFed? I'm talking about having a clean record in terms of credit history, but also payment history. Because this is important. I mean, if you want to increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Score, you better really have a clean record. And we're speaking about a clean record internally, but also externally. Okay, we're having a dual relationship here. So endogenously and also exogenously. First of all, let's talk about externally. Your credit reports. I'm talking about your FICO. Okay, I'm not talking here about your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, but I'm talking about your FICO score. Now, there is a direct relationship, a direct correlation between your FICO score and your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. That's for sure. So if you have problems outside, if you have some anomalies on your credit reports, on your FICO credit reports, you better fix that. Because the thing here is, and I'm speaking to you, mother, father, I'm speaking to you, uncle. I want you to really take action right now. Go to a website called annualcreditreport.com. Because see, that's the thing is that website allows you to get a free credit score. See, you don't have to spend a dime. You have access to your credit score and credit report once a year. So you see clearly what's really in there. The website is called annualcreditreport.com. Okay. And the thing here is that you have access to TransUnion, to Equifax, to Experian, and whatnot. You have everything, so you have visibility into your record. You know what's going on. If somebody has been messing up with your file, you can fix it. You can spot the problem right there and right then and there, and start fixing it. How cool is that? Right? That's kind of cool. And if there are some issues, some errors, some anomalies on your file, you can fix it. You can fix those. Okay, it's important. And you can contact the credit reporting agency. You can file a dispute letter, okay, yourself, or you can have someone do it for you. Okay, clearly identify each item in your report that you dispute. You want to state the fact and explain why you dispute the information, and you want to request deletion or correction. This is important, right? So don't actually minimize the importance of that, because that's going to have a direct effect on your FICO score, and by way of consequence, will have a direct impact on your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score. Okay, and one thing I want to say here is that you can also contact the data furnisher. In other words, if you identify a problem on your FICO score, you can contact the company that provided the data in the first place. Instead of reaching out to the credit bureau, you can actually reach out to the credit card issuer, or the bank, or the insurance company, or the landlord that provided the erroneous data in the first place. It's important. Father, I want to talk to you about your financial health. Yeah. It's about time we had a conversation, mother. It's about time we had a conversation, uncle. It's about time we had a conversation, brother, about everything that's going on in your life right now. Your financial health. You hear that? I'm talking to you about your financial health, not any kind of health. Your money. Talk to me about that. Hey, have you been financially healthy lately, or are you just scraping by? What is your strategy? Do you have a code? Do you have a formula? See, it's not about just being broke every now and then. It happens to everybody. Been there, done that. It's all about having the strategy to actually come out of that state of being broke, right? Or even prevent that state in the first place. See, the thing here is that if you don't have a code, if you don't have a formula, you can't succeed. And if you want to increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, you better try to be financially healthy, or you better be financially healthy. This should be a goal, okay? So when we talk about financial health management, we're speaking about payment due dates. Those are important. So if you have credit products, and I'm not just talking to you about PenFed credit products, I'm talking to you about all credit products for that matter, okay? Make sure that your bill payments are timely. Make sure that the quantity of late reports of late payments and the duration of being current on payments, that's really, really reduced. And if you're having trouble paying your bills, there are sources for assistance. The problem is people have problems paying their bills and they don't reach out. You got to reach out. You got to reach out, brother. I'm talking to you right now because the thing is, if your goal is to actually increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score to 950, which should be the ideal, the apex of things, you really have to have a strategy. Okay. And when we talk about having a strategy, you got to constantly manage your accounts. You got to keep balances low. Think about your credit card management strategy overall in terms of keeping your current cards open, opening new credit cards, closing credit cards. Okay. You got to think about that. Also think about the impact on your FICO score and by way of consequence, your PenFed NextGen Internal Score when you are seeking new credit. Okay, don't seek new credit all the time. Think about that, brother. I want you to think about that. Okay, and also monitor your credit score. It's important. I've told you before that you go to a website called annualcreditreport.com to have your credit score, but there are other free FICO score providers that you can actually sign up with, and you have a constant access to your credit score all year long. I'm talking about Credit Karma, Nerd Wallet, Wallet Hub. There are lots of them out there. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about how to increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score and bring it from 150, if you are currently around 150, all the way to 950. Okay, and the thing here is that I want to talk to you about the inquiries, brother. I want you to listen to me right now, because PenFed pays attention to what the inquiries going on your FICO score, on your FICO score. See, the thing is, they're monitoring your accounts. If you have an open credit account with them, they're monitoring your credit scores. Okay, they have something called a soft pull, and they do it constantly. A soft pull means what? They're checking your FICO report, not for a new credit, so they're not doing a hard pull. They're doing a soft pull. They're just like FYI, for your information only, for their information only. And this is important. So you want to have fewer inquiries, because the more inquiries you have, like if you're just out there just looking for a new credit, whether from PenFed or another lender, this will have a direct consequence on your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, and you want to stop that. See, this is something we got to stop. Okay, that's what I was just talking to you earlier about, having a code, having a formula. You need to codify the whole process. So why are you looking for credit all the time anyway? Is it because you're just scraping by, you're just broke, you're just looking for cash here and there? Do you have a plan? Is it because you don't have a job, or you have a job but the job ain't paying that much, so you can't really make ends meet with the cash you receive from your employer? So we gotta think about the causal relationship here, right? What is the cause? Why are you having a problem? Why are you having the inquiries? So the fewer inquiries you have, the better it is for your credit score. The more inquiries you have, the worse it is for your credit score. So there is an inverse relationship here. Okay. So one thing you need to understand is that look for credit cards and loans that have soft pulls. Okay. Don't go. There are a lot of loans out there that they give you that let you pre-qualify, so you have an idea of what you can qualify for before giving them the authorization to run a hard pull. This is important. And also, when we talk about opening new accounts, again, I was just talking to you earlier about looking at the causal relationship. Why are we opening new accounts all the time anyway? Boss, talk to me about that. Okay. The last thing I want you to do if you want to increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score is to monitor things. Now, obviously, you can't have PenFed doesn't communicate their NextGen Internal Credit Score the same way NavyFed does. In other words, NavyFed usually, when you apply for a credit and you are denied, they actually let you know why you were denied, and part of that, they'll send you a letter just telling you, hey, listen, your NavyFed Internal Credit Score is this, and this is why we denied you. We denied your ass. The thing here is that PenFed doesn't do that. But they do have an internal credit score. They do have an internal rating system whereby they look at members who are risky versus those who are not risky. It's just part of their risk mitigation process. All credit institutions have that. All financial institutions have that. That's just what it is. So if you want to increase your PenFed NextGen Internal Credit Score, all you can do is to go through a proxy. In other words, you need to monitor your FICO score. You need to monitor your FICO score to make sure that if your FICO score is great, then if we talk about the strong correlation between your external FICO score and your internal NextGen internal credit score, then if the rate is good outside, if the score is good outside, chances are it will be good inside, right? So you want to monitor your credit score, and I'm talking about having a strategy. See, when we talk about having a code, having a strategy, have tactics, it has to be routine. You want to monitor your credit score once a week. And this is just taking 5 minutes, looking at your score, making sure everything is fine. It takes 5 minutes, boss. Don't tell me this is a lot of work for you. No, your FICO score is part of your life because it will determine how much you're paying for everything, for credit products. Okay, so you better take the time to actually do this. And I don't care if you do it on Saturday afternoon or you do it on Sunday afternoon. You got to spend some time to actually do that. So spend some time and look into your FICO scores and see if there is anything in there that is derogatory, that is just shouldn't be there in the first place, right? So you also want to pay attention to your FICO score itself, the score itself, the number. You want to pay attention to your payment history to see if you have paid your bills on time. You want to monitor your current debts, whether you have had any collection accounts, if you have any public records such as bankruptcies, judgments, and liens. Okay, and the types of financing you have successfully managed in the past, the length of your credit history. Those will have impacts on your PenFed internal credit score, recent activity, including new accounts and credit inquiries by other lenders. Okay, and your income. Okay, your income will also play a quintessential role when we talk about your DTI and by way of consequence, your PenFed NextGen internal credit score. Thank you, boss. I really appreciated your time today. I appreciated that you have actually watched and listened to us today, and I want to thank you for it. And I just want to quickly recap. So today I spoke to you about how to increase your PenFed NextGen internal credit score. So I gave you an overview about the scoring model itself, which is a little different from your FICO score. Okay, and I spoke to you about PenFed Credit, PenFed NPR, your multi-product relationship with them, the clean records you need to have, your financial health, fewer inquiries, and the monitoring of your credit score that you must have. Thank you so much for your attention. I will speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.